Welcome back, friends, to the shop. This video kicks off a series that I'm really excited for, and what I'm going to be doing is showing you some options to put together top of the line, highest quality, USA made mechanics hand tool kit that matches the one that I have. Now, before we get started, we need to talk about bias. Now, as a professional homeowner who was raised with a granddad who was a mechanic and who bought and used Snap-on tools, I am completely biased towards them. I think they make the best hand tools in the world, bar none, no question. This Ratchet, I paid $150 for this on the Snap-on truck 25 years ago. It gives me the same pleasure and joy that it did the day I took it out of that truck. There's just something about it. I know there are other options. I know there are cheaper tools, but this isn't about that. And I'm not going to tell you what to get, but also please don't come in the comments and tell me I can get the same thing at Home Depot. I can get the same thing at Lowe's. I can get the same thing, because it's not the same thing. I'm not saying that there's not a place for those tools, and a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. And if that's what your budget dictates, then that's what you get. If you got to change your oil, you got to change your oil. You can't go buy a $175 Ratchet. What I'm saying is, get the tools, the best tools that you can afford, and you will never, ever regret it. Buy the tools, and knowing that as time goes on, I'll make a playlist for this video series. You can go back in and you can start upgrading, and ultimately, over a period of months or even maybe years, build yourself a basic kit that you will absolutely love, that will be top of the line. Now, I'm not going to recommend you go out and buy Snap-on tools, but I'm not going to judge you if you do. Not at all. I get it. Trust me, I 100% get it. But for professional homeowners, that's a bit of a stretch for a $175 Ratchet. A little known fact that I was recently made aware of is that Snap-on makes tools under other names than Snap-on. And I got to looking at these, and I started ordering a couple, and I was really, really impressed with them. They are beautifully made. And the best thing is they're about 25% of the cost of the tools. And that's a huge saving. And what you're getting is a tool that's made in the US, that from what I've seen, the samples coming in are absolutely gorgeous for 1/4 of the cost. Now we're talking. And I'll tell you the truth, honestly, after looking at it and handling it and thinking about it and seeing these tools coming in, these are beautiful, beautiful tools, and that's what this video series is going to cover. We're going to go through each set, ratchets, sockets, wrenches, all of those, and we're going to compare them side by side with their Snap-on counterparts and see how they stack up. When I work in the wildland fireground, there's one thing that they teach us, and that's what is the leader's intent. You have a meeting in the morning. What is it that we're trying to accomplish in this video series? My leader's intent in this is to show you not only how to put together a kit from experience that you'll be able to do so many things, you'll be able to fix and work and repair on your own tools, but also each time you pick it up will give you pleasure, and you'll know that you've got a high quality American-made tool. I am not receiving any price discounts. I'm not receiving any free tools. Everything that you see here, I'm buying with my own money, including the Snap-on tools. There's a couple things that I didn't have, or I have lost or loaned out or have been stolen, that I had to replace, and if I don't have it in my own kit, I'm buying it with my own money, and I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. So I want you to know that, because I know how biased I am, and I just don't think if people give you free stuff, as much as you say I'm going to be objective, you just can't. You can't, because you don't want to bite the hand. So I thought it better. With that being said, I could, with a phone call, have all this stuff given to me for free. When I was working with the Baco axes, Baco, I believe, owns Snap-on. They reached out to me and said, what do you want? Anything you want, we'll give you. I'm not doing that, even though I could, because I know where that goes. So I want you to know everything here I purchased with my own money, Snap-on, the Williams stuff, and I'm going to just lay it out there, and we'll call it like we see it. I have zero dog in the fight. So with that preamble, we can get started. Let's go over to the vise, and today we're going to be covering flex head ratchets. Williams tool has been around for a long time. I don't know when Snap-on acquired them, but my large wrenches that I received from my granddad, who was a professional line mechanic his whole life, that's what he had, the bigger ones, and his smaller hand tools were Snap-on. So I have quite a few of these. I didn't assume that they would still be around. And then a couple years ago, a friend of mine who had some sort of a connection gifted me with a set of these Williams, and he said they're the same as Snap-on, and he gave me 2 sets of these, and that really surprised me because this here was my original, just my regular flat blade screwdriver that I bought over 25 years ago, and when I received the set of Williams, I couldn't see any difference. I mean, everything was exactly the same. The construction, the material, everything, they're indistinguishable. However, this is 1/4 the price of this. Now, is the warranty going to be the same? Are you going to have the support? I don't know, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, I've used my tools for so long. Rarely, if you take care of them, you're not going to warranty. You're not going to have a problem. But I mean, at the 1/4 the cost, if you can buy 3 or 4 of them, then you're just going to self-insure. You're just going to just handle it that way. But that kind of piqued my curiosity when I saw that. It's like, why would you go buy a Snap-on screwdriver when you can buy a Williams for 1/4 the cost? So that's how the whole thing started. But let's get to the flex ratchets. I just received both of these. They came in the mail yesterday. I had a flex head. I don't think I've ever had a Snap-on flex head. I had a cheap inferior brand, but this is really where it starts. Yeah, a good ratchet. You want a flex head and a standard, and I never had a good one, so I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity. So I ordered a brand new Snap-on flex head off the website. And I gotta tell you, it is beautiful. I sat at my desk last night. I've had it in my hand, all this morning over coffee, admiring it. It is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I paid $175 for this, but I have no regrets either. And I have no doubt that in 15, 20 years, if the Lord wills and doesn't tarry, that I'll still have it in my hand and I will enjoy it as much as ever. If you know, you know. If you've had them, if you've used them, there's just nothing like it. It is, every time you grab it, every time you see it in your toolbox, you forget what you paid for it, and you will never, ever regret it. But that is it's a beauty. But this is the equivalent in the Williams, the closest I could find. Now, you're not going to have as many options with the Williams. You're going to kind of get what you get, or Snap-on. I mean, there's an infinite variety of ratchets and size. I mean, a perfect example. This is the first one that I bought off the truck in 3/8 drive over 20 years ago. A long-handled ratchet, and again, no regrets. I've made my living with this. It's a treasure to me. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I was interested to see that the design has changed quite a bit. It's gotten better. Look how much bigger the head is. Design differences. We've got the little torque screw that holds on your selector. That's gone, but beefier, more robust. Beautiful chrome plating, and look how deep those, I don't know if those are roll marks or what that is, but I mean, tight, nice, beautiful chrome. I mean, it is, look how, again, just look how, focus there, look how deep the patent numbers are there, and the pressing into the, I mean, and it feels like butter. I mean, the selector is beautiful. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I have been fondling that all morning, but it was interesting to see that they've actually gotten bigger and stronger. Now, I was fully expecting, after seeing the screwdrivers, I thought what we were going to have for the Williams would be the exact same mechanism, exact same everything, maybe a little less polish on there, maybe not all the options, but it's a completely different tool. The Williams is more like my original ratchet in size and dimension, similar, but this one here, goodness. But again, $175 versus a Williams, which I ordered, and it was $48. And it's beautiful as well. You can see right there. I mean, it's got nice, the name is pressed in there, nice selector switch, beautiful chrome plating. The chrome plating it's a deep, it's really rich and deep. It has exactly the same look and feel as a Snap-on, which I'm not surprised, you know, they're made by the same company. It's got the part number on there, USA made, and it is a beautiful tool as well. I guarantee it, that if this was in my hand, in my toolbox, when I saw this, this would give me the fizz. I would know that I had a quality tool. And I think even though it's not Snap-on and, you know, this doesn't have that, you know, all the stuff that comes with that, the fact that I paid 25% of the cost of this would overcome that for me. And again, if you want to buy Snap-on, I'm not judging. That's what I do and always have. But if you were to get this, I have no doubt you would be absolutely pleased. Look how beautiful that is. Gorgeous, tight, chrome plating. I love the shape of the handle, clean, elegant, great length. I mean, really, you kind of, when you go with this, I've always had two lengths. I've had my long ones and my short ones, you know, depending on the job, what you need. Sometimes this is too long, and this is kind of an intermediate. It's really a nice compromise, because if you're just going to have one, you know, have it kind of in the middle on the long side, I think is really a great compromise. But very nice. Let's open them up and look inside and see what the components, how the components compare. Let's start with the Snap-on. Now, it's going to be a fine tooth. Listen. That is a beautiful tool, meaning that it's going to have a very fine tooth. Now, if we count here, let's do a 180 degrees. Or we'll do a quarter, 20. So there's 20 clicks in 45 degrees, so that would be an 80 clicks for 360 degrees. What a fine tooth ratchet gives you is the ability, when you're in those tight spots, you can activate it back and forth in a small area. And sometimes that's really critical when you get down and you're standing on your head and trying to remove the top two bell housing bolts on your NV3550. That's critical, right? To be able to go back and forth in a small area when you don't have the room. Now, I've always heard that the fine tooth are not as strong as the coarse tooth, but I've never broke a ratchet, so I don't think that it matters. I'd rather have a fine tooth given the choice. Now, if we take the Williams, now we had, what, 80 teeth on there? The Williams, listen to it. Do you hear that? That's a coarse tooth, more coarse. And if we do our test here, nine. So that's much coarser. So that's right around close to half as many teeth, where you're going to have to go quite a bit further to re-engage. So just know that. I mean, if it's important to you, go spend $175. But if it's not, and I think it's not, because what I've noticed is almost the same as this. Actually, this is coarser. You hear that? On my original Snap-on. So what do we have, 9? There's 8. And I've never wanted for this. I've always found it to be a good ratchet. So this is even better than that. Let's pull it apart. Look inside. We got our copper jaws on there. Don't clamp your $175 beautiful work of art and metal jaws. Goodness. Got a torque screw here. I'll show you how a ratchet works inside. It's a really ingenious design. So clever. These ratchets, of course, are fully rebuildable. Same for the Williams, I believe. So we have here a small spring, and this spring here will push a detent ball bearing. Take that out. And then we have, so how it works, just so you can see there, so as we flip the lever, and I've got the spring out so the detent is not going to be activating, but these engage on one side and then lock up against the teeth, and then when you push it over, there's a kind of a cam thing that rotates these pawls around, and now it's engaging on this side and goes the other way, essentially. So I'll take this out. And you can get a parts kit for these, and there you can see gear. Is it the bowl gear? I never know. Professional homeowners, they don't know these nomenclatures. But here's the pawls. AVE did a test on these ratchets, the high quality ones like the Snap-ons and the Protos and the Max, and it's really interesting, and the Snap-ons were the strongest of all the tools. So that's nice to hear. At least you know if you're paying $175 for it that you're getting the best. There's a small spring in there. And then this guy here, should house the detent right there. And you see that small ball bearing? So as we select the lever back and forth, that detent goes back and forth up on this spot right there, which is pressed down by that spring inside. Oops, goodness, me dropping that. That spring in there, and then these little pawls here are engaged by those little pins, and they fit inside of there, and that's what rotates them back and forth like that. Very interesting. I just wanted to kind of get a look at this, and we can see, what we have, and compare it with the Williams. So to put it back here, that fits on that pin. You can see how the detent ball should work. Did I get it right? Yeah, the ball's just going up inside, but the spring, that little spring will hold that down right here. Ingenious. I mean, this is the evolution of this, and the time and the brilliance of that men have come up with this, that it's got to us. This is able. I mean, I guess the development of it has been to this point. It's really getting to perfection, isn't it? Now you got to line these guys up in there. We got this little guy here that fits in there like that. This is a little bit tricky and fussy, but those pins have to get lined up in there before we put that big bowl gear in there. Just make sure that those are captured, those pins are in there, and then you should be able to drop the gear in like that. There's also a rubber seal on there to keep dirt out. I'll just hold that on there, and it should work both ways, and you've got it put back together correctly. But I wanted to take a look at that. I had never been inside of one of these newer ones. Oh, that is a beautiful, beautiful tool, isn't it? Man. All right, let's take a look inside the Williams, which is also gorgeous. The chrome plating on this is absolutely gorgeous. Looks just like the Snap-on. Now the Williams is pretty beautiful in its own right. It has a smaller screw than the Snap-on. The Snap-on has the T10s on the back side, the Williams on the top, more like the old school. Is that the same as the old school Snap-on? Yeah, that's a T8. So a little bit smaller. So that's interesting to see. I mean, I was really thinking that these two would be the same, again, just fit and finish, but they're entirely different tools. That should make you feel better if you do pay that much money for it. Now, this could all fall out on the ground and the ball bearing and never to be seen again, so I'm going to hold pressure on this and then we'll flip it over once we remove these screws. Very tiny machine screws. Okay, we should be able to take a peek inside. I hear Mama Kitty, or I feel Mama Kitty rubbing on me here. We might have a little cameo. Well, this is a whole different mechanism here, isn't it? So the new Snap-on is completely different. This is more what I'm used to. simpler. It's far more coarse. Like it takes a lot more effort to engage the pawl back and forth, but look how coarse that is. Look how coarse the teeth are. But that's interesting. Yeah, but look and see on that bull gear, look how coarse that is compared to how fine the other one was. But that's interesting. So let's see if I remember how to do this. That bull gear should come out there. It's got the same seal, rubber seal on it. Looks like it's a little bit simpler. I've never been inside one of these. Let's see, how does it work? Must be some sort of a detent ball in there. Oh, so these don't fly away on me. Oh yeah, very, very simple. There's our detent ball. That might be difficult to put together. Ball bearing. And the spring. Yeah, different mechanism altogether. Is this a quality item? Sure it is. But remember, a fourth the cost. Oh, that's interesting. Getting this back together correctly is going to be like assembling a Swiss watch, I fear. Oh! That was a ball bearing. I give us a 50-50 chance of finding it. Miracle of miracles. That's why you keep a clean shop. Back in my gravel shop days, that'd have been a goner. Let's put a little grease on there. Pro tip. Get yourself some waterproof Bel-Ray grease. This is, of course, is not the proper grease for this, I'm sure. Cut a hole in the top, a little brush, right there. That's how you do it. You just apply grease all the time. But I want to put a little grease on there so it's got some stick-to-itness. We did it. Pretty simple. So you can see how it works. That detent ball is pressed against there by that spring, and there's your ratcheting. And when you want to go the other direction, you turn this, and there's a bit of a cam, basically a cam lobe there. It goes across, the detent holds it, and now you engage with these teeth on this side. Very simple. Looks big and robust. It looks pretty good to me. I've got a pretty respectable set of 1/4-inch drive snap-on tools because my first time I worked as a professional mechanic was an outboard. I worked at a marina, and I was in charge of rebuilding and working on all the small Mercury outboards from 2.2 to 50 horse. And the other mechanics, the more seasoned. It was a high school job, but they trained me, and I was grateful for that. And that's where I first started buying my snap-on tools. And I think this was one of them. Sockets were, but it was small work. The little outboards were small, so the first tools I bought were all 1/4-inch drive. Well, brothers, I think we've got a winner here. From what I've seen so far, it is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful tool. Looks like it's got really the same pivot size screw as the snap-on. But look at the chrome finish, and the fit and finish of it is excellent. The handle is just a beautiful shape. My granddad, he was purely practical. He never liked the snap-on handles. Some of his wrenches he took and cut them off and took like an S&K handle that had a heavy knurling on it, and then welded them together and then grounded it down, and I still have his 3/8 ratchet, and that's the way it was. He used to have fun with the snap-on guy because he would take it in to have it rebuilt and hand it to the guy, and he would look at it, and it had a snap-on head on it, and it had that knurled handle, and the guy'd say, "Oh man, that's an old one. I've never seen one of those," and he'd never tell him. He'd just smile. But you can see the B52EHF8, USA made. All of these Williams tools that I have coming in all have individual part numbers, and they're made by Snap-on. They're beautiful. And this at $48 to me seems quite fair. This Williams will be the flex head that I'm going to put in the kit. Now, I'm going to add affiliate links to these to help offset the cost of buying this kit and buying the Snap-on tools that I need to make these videos. There's no obligation here, and I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm just giving you a good option. I looked at S&K, I looked at Proto Mac, I looked at the big ones, and from what I saw, from my uninformed, unexpert opinion, it just seems like a great value, and it's still, even the SKs are over double what it was, and I just don't know that I could justify it for the professional homeowner. Those links will be down below. Now be careful when you're looking at the Williams tools. You can get them on Amazon, but they have overseas made and they have USA made. And what I've seen, what looks like, is if the part number starts with a letter and then has a number, of all the ones that I've received, and they're all coming in now, my Allens and stuff are coming in, and everything is USA. Even the packaging's printed in USA. And so that stuff will be coming up there. So be careful. Just because it says Williams doesn't mean that it's made in USA. The overseas ones are really cheaper, a lot cheaper, and from what I understand, not the quality. We're not interested in those. We're strictly 100% USA kit, and so look for that. So don't be fooled make sure it has the letters before it. But I'll put that link down below, and that'll help offset some of the cost of this video series. I'm not opposed to putting this together and investing the money in it, because I thought, well, what a great gift that I can give to Jack when he turns 18. We can get him a nice box and a set of tools, heritage tools that he'll be proud of, because I'm not quite willing to give up mine. Hopefully I still need them by that time, but this will be the set that I give my son, that I'll know that if he takes care of them, that he would be able to hand them down. It's something that he will enjoy using, and it'd just be a pleasure, and it's just something special about it. You know, if you're not a mechanic, if you're not, you know, that type of guy that works in shops, you may not understand that, and you think it's insane to spend that type of money. But you can't judge a guy on what's important to him. You know, if you're a gamer, you know, you build yourself an awesome rig. You know, and you may spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on that, or whatever you do. An architect, you know, you spend money on your tools because it's important to you. And never judge a man for that, what he spends his money on. That's his business, and it's none of your business. But I think there's a lot of you guys out there that can relate and understand. And I tell you, once you have this in your hand and what you compare it to your Harbor Freight and your Husky and those sorts of things, you'll understand. You'll get it. And until you hold them, until you feel them, you just don't know. So that's it. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers. We will most likely jump into the sockets next set, what you should have, the basic set, the absolute essential, and we'll compare those to the Snap-on and see how they look as well. So thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers. We pray for you constantly, and we'll see you all on the next video.